H, what's up? Hey guys, time for a paintball review, and this is a marker I've been wanting to review since, oh man, I guess since the Civil War, since me and General Custer were on the front lines ramping on Reynolds. No, I'm just kidding, but no, the Azodin Blitz is near and dear to my heart, as it is for many paintball players, because for myself and many of my friends, this was our first electronic marker, or first marker period. A lot of my buddies started out with electronic markers. I was a little bit less fortunate, so I started mechanical, which also taught me the basics of being accurate and whatnot, though, and kind of formed me into the paintball player I am today now, to where I pick my shots instead of just fucking ripping through pods. I actually pick my shots to make sure I clip you and rip you, might even dip you. But anyway, the Blitz here by Azodin has been around for a long time, and it is honestly a noob's best friend. Now, what does that mean? If you're a new player, you can pick up one of these puppies brand spanking new off the lot, roughly $150 brand new. However, don't pay that, guys. They're constantly being sold for $120, $130 on sales, sometimes even down in the hundreds near holiday times and whatnot. Now, if you're going to go into the used market, you can pick up one of these for about 70 or 80 bucks, which I personally would recommend, because the reliability on these sons of bitches is so good. It's second to a Tippmann, okay? Now, Tippmanns, in my opinion, are the most reliable paintball gun. They're kind of the Glocks of the paintball world, if you will, because they're indestructible. You can rip them through the mud, run shitty paint through them, play in the freezing, play in the desert, get sand in them, barely maintain them, slap a little grease in them, and it'll be there for you next time you go to play. Now, the Azodin is almost likely like that, but not quite. Let's just talk about the packaging real quick. This is the original box that this came with in 2011. I have not had this since 2011. I've had this for about 7 months. I bought this used from a fuckboy. He was kind of a dick, but he's the guy I got the Proto Rise Max from, as well as this, a gear bag, a pod pack, and like, it was a little, I found them on Craigslist, and I got like 2 markers and a whole bunch of shit for like 250 or 300 bucks or something. It was a great deal, especially just for the Proto Rise Max alone. Anyway, guys, so the packaging here, guys, you know that's where we start. You know my reviews, that's stage 1, okay, boys? The packaging here, okay? This thing's held up pretty good, but this is shitty packaging. This is a little bit better than Tippmann, because Tippmann comes in a plain, non-color, brown plastic, cardboard box. But their foam here is just really, you know, it's ripped here, as you can see. It really hasn't held up to the test of time or whatever, and it's just really shitty foam. What you're going to get in there is going to be your one piece, nothing special here, one piece 12-inch, and you get in here was going to be your stock barrel sleeve or barrel condom, which I don't recommend stock barrel condoms. You shoot a couple times, you're going to blow right through it and put somebody's eye out, okay? Spend the extra $5-10 bucks and get yourself an aftermarket barrel sleeve and save your fucking eyeballs. You're also going to get a little Ziploc bag full of O-rings, nuts, bolts, all your hardware, any tools you might need to maintain your gun. And then, of course, the pièce de résistance, what's really important here, guys, your fucking marker, okay? Let's get that barrel on there. A Azodin KD2 mechanical Azodin marker bolt, and I have the Blitz right here. As you see, the Blitz is just a pinch, maybe about about 1/8 of an inch shorter, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it will fuck up the marker a little bit if you mix and match these. It's also diameter too. I don't know if you guys can see that too well, but it's a little bit, these bolts are just a little bit different. The design's the exact same. It's called a Delrin bolt. It's real low maintenance. You don't grease or oil these things. You're actually not supposed to. I put a little oil on there every once in a while. You're not really supposed to, but I feel it makes it shoot a little smoother. Maybe that's just me. But so anyway, you got these Delrin bolts here. All right, let's just go over a couple of the features real quick before I get into my personal opinions on the ergonomics, the shooting and whatnot, the shot quality, the trigger feel, all the stuff that you guys really care about. My opinion. Slide that Delrin bolt in there. Just push down on it. She is now in place. Alright, so basically in here you got what's called the Zen board. It's got 4 firing modes. It's got uncapped semi, PSP, Millennium, and CFOA semi, which is, I'm not really sure what that is. It's a different form of semi-automatic. One thing I really like about this marker compared to some of my other markers, even my higher end markers, is that you don't need to take the grips off and do anything special to manipulate the board. You literally have 2 buttons on here and 2 lights. The top is a power button. You hold it to turn it on. It's blinking red right now, saying that you're going to hold down this button to turn it off, or if you just soft touch it once, just tap it once, it'll go between having eyes on and eyes off. And to change your firing mode, it's extremely easy. You just hold down your... once it starts blinking, you'd use this bottom button, and you'll see it run through different colors, and that's your different firing modes. Very simple. Very easy to change your firing mode. So we'll just keep her in semi for a second so we can talk about the trigger, which I have a love-hate relationship. I love to hate it. The trigger's a fucking asshat in this thing. Now, I did buy this used, and I can't really remember if the trigger always sucked this bad. I've had Blitzes in the past, and I don't know, it just... Maybe there's supposed to be a magnet in there that's supposed to, look how much dead play there is in there. Like, it's just super, there's a lot of dead play in that trigger. But you can still get on it pretty good. So you can still get on the trigger pretty good, but I'm not a huge, I do like the shape of it, that simple, no thrills blade trigger. It could be a little more rounded on the sides to feel more ergonomically correct. It just kind of drops off like the Proto Rise Maxed, where it's just kind of jagged on the sides. But ergonomically, this gun feels pretty good. I wish it had more of a stretched out design with the front regulator out a little bit further. But honestly, it feels pretty good. The grips are very basic. There's no notches for your fingers or anything like that. And this is hard plastic on the back and the front. You only get rubber grips on the side that doesn't wrap all the way around. But for an average adult male hand, this fits pretty well. I've also had several of these when I was in my teenage years, and it worked just fine for my hands being smaller back then. So the trigger, not a huge fan of. It's very floaty. It's got a lot of dead play in it. I don't know if that's because I bought this used and old boy had it just set up fucking stupid or what, but so anyway, this barrel, the only thing I would really do to this marker, because, well, you're going to upgrade your entire marker eventually. This is just kind of for you to get out there and have fun and shoot your friends. The only thing I would really do to this is get an upgraded barrel. This one piece 10 or 12 inch stock barrel is kind of a piece of shit. I mean, it's flared out here. That's your control bore right there, which is really short. And it's got some good porting in it, so it's not too loud barrel-wise, but okay. So just like a Tippmann, this thing clunks a lot. It's you can tell even just from shooting ungassed up, just from the Delrin bolt slamming forward. It's not a very smooth operation. This is a stack tube poppet design, so it's got a little rammer in here called the Feather Strike system, which is supposed to be 30% lighter than the old school Blitz. But honestly, I think this might actually be the older model, the 2011. They call it that because 2011 is when Azodin produced the mass amount of its Blitzes. They produced the most in 2011, so they just have them sitting around in a factory, and they happen to be chucking them out. So these do have a lot of regulator issues. The regulator is probably the least reliable piece of this weapon. In fact, Azodin, they've never done a recall or anything, but they do sell upgraded regulators on their website, because these have a lot of leaking issues. When I first bought it from that fuckboy I told you about, this thing didn't even work. It was, both the markers, the Rise Max and this one, were completely caked up on the inside with dirt and paint, and it's like he never cleaned his markers, and he just sold me some fucking old piece of shit he got in his closet. It kind of pissed me off. That, and he never got back to me. He still owes me a hopper. Which I don't really care about because I've got 3 really nice hoppers, but it was part of the package, and he's like, oh, I forgot it, I can go back to my house and get it, and I was cool enough to be like, nah, man, go ahead, you know, I'll, yeah, don't worry about it, just get me back tomorrow or something. And then, he just kind of like fell off, you know. I tried to get in contact with him, and he pretty much stuck me for not giving me a hopper, and that was part of the fucking deal I bought. But hey, I still got a good deal with the Proto Rise Max and the Blitz, so he can go suck a dick. Moving on. This clamping feed neck is a piece of crap. I hate this clamping feed neck. Half the time it doesn't grab my hopper, and the other times it just... So you got a little metal collar in there. Yep, looks like you can see that. And as you jack down on it, you turn it clockwise. Obviously it tightens it up, but it just doesn't work very good, and I'm not a huge fan of it at all. There is no on and off ASA, so degassing this kind of a bitch. You want to make sure you don't strip your threads. So a little tip that I've been doing for about a decade now, honestly, is you want to shoot while you're degassing it. Just a couple of shots while you're screwing off your tank, and it'll help you not strip your threads because it relieves a little bit of pressure in the ASA port, just a little bit. But honestly, an on-off ASA would be nice. A better clamping feed neck would be nice. Ergonomics are pretty good. Regulator has some issues. There's no adjustability here. Some of the newer Azodins have what's called the 0D system right here, like my Azodin KD2, which I did a fantastic review on, by the way. It was one of my first, if not my first, I think it was my first marker review. I did a review on the Azodin KD2, which is the mechanical version of this gun, basically. It's an upgraded mechanical version of this. The Blitz has been their electronic marker for the longest time, and the KD, or Chaos Deluxe, has been their mechanical. Then they also have the KP series, which is Chaos Pump, which is their pump versions, which, by the way, the KP3 is an amazing pump gun, and if I do buy a pump, it will be an Azodin KP3 in white and gold, aka the Kingslayer. It looks fucking amazing. So anyway, so I have owned many Azodins over the years, both KD2s, KPs, fucking Blitzes, obviously a lot of Blitzes, and some other paintball channels were saying that there's a problem with like the milling and the body and the anodizing and it just looking really crappy and stuff. I have personally never experienced that, guys. Very reputable channel said that, Paintball Ruined My Life, which has a fantastic channel, but I personally have never noticed that at all. And I do feel that their milling is actually pretty cool looking. Hopefully the light pick it up. It's pretty aggressive. It's pretty cool looking. You got some nice slashes in here and whatnot, and it's just a good looking paintball marker besides that piece of shit barrel, which I would replace for a 2-piece or a 1-piece carbon or, you know, something like that. So getting to your eyes is very easy. You just screws on each side and these pop out, and you've got your brake beam eyes in there, and they do work pretty well actually. Brake beam eyes are on, nothing's going on. Put your finger in there, it thinks it's a ball. You don't want to do this with the bolt in here, guys. I mean, I know that sounds fucking obvious, but there might be some kids watching this or something. If your gun's gassed up and you have the bolt in there, please do not stick your finger in the breech and pull the trigger. It'll fucking hurt your finger. Potentially snap off your fingernail or break your finger or something, so don't do that, okay? So, brake beam eyes work good. So you've got the Zen board, which I've already talked about. It's got 4 firing modes. The Blitz Evo, which I'll be reviewing in the near future, has 6 firing modes, and they're adjustable. These are built-in, preset, non-adjustable modes, and the trigger has no electronic adjustment. The trigger is how it is. If you want to adjust it, you're going to have to use either magnets or a little set screw in there to, you know, there's no electronic adjustment of the trigger. But you wouldn't really expect that from a $100 marker, and if you do, you're fucking delusional. So it's got the Feather Striker system, which I've told you about. It's supposed to be 30% lighter and less mechanical recoil. Now the Striker system is down in here. The bolt's up here, and then down below it is the Feather Striker system, okay? And then the regulator feeds into all that, and there's a macro line, obviously. The macro line's also another point of failure with these markers. It's got these little cutout slats in there. That's for your detents to sit in there. So the barrel is auto cocker threaded because they expect that you're going to ditch that piece of shit and get a new barrel. So auto cocker is probably the most common paintball threaded barrel, second to the Tippmann 98 threading, maybe. The Feather Striker system is a low pressure inline regulator. Wrong, false. It kicks quite a bit. It's got a lot of recoil and it's pretty loud because it runs at a relatively high operating pressure. Okay, so that barrel is a 1-piece 12-inch and the operating pressure is a whopping 350 to 450 psi. Now that's a pretty big range. I guess if you tweak with the velocity and the regulator back and forth, you can get it down to around 350, but that is by no means a quiet, smooth shooting marker at all, guys. It really shows when you're firing it. The shot quality, it's got a lot of recoil for a paintball gun. It's a loud gun, and it kicks a lot, so not very smooth. And here's what I can say about this gun, okay? Now, first of all, for adjusting your velocity to that sweet spot of 280 to 300 that your field requires, you're gonna go between your regulator here and your velocity adjust back here. Now you should be able to do your fine tuning from here, and if you're majorly, you know, 50 psi, or I'm sorry, 50 feet per second up or down, you're really off, you're gonna need to adjust the regulator to make sure you're getting the right amount of air. In the back here, that's where you fine tune your velocity to get it, you know, right in that sweet spot. Now, speaking of sweet spot, it's not that consistent velocity. You're gonna get plus minus 10 to 15 in your full auto modes, like your ramping. Now, single shot, yeah, it'll be plus minus 5 usually. We'll figure this out over the chrono, so I have proof. I'm not just talking out of my a-hole. But when you're going into full auto and it's using a lot more air and stuff, I've noticed velocity fluctuate up and down pretty badly. So just a little tip for you guys: with any Azodin gun that has a Delrin bolt in it, whether it be the mechanical KD or the electronic Blitz, you want to store it with the bolt out. That is because it puts pressure on the detents, and your detents will wear out quicker. And somebody also told me something else about when you gas it up, you want to cock it back before you gas it up because it's less wear on the spring when it pressurizes. I don't know if that's true or not. I've researched it, and I don't know if he was correct on that or not, but I do know for a fact, because I've seen it firsthand, you want to store it with the bolt out because it will wear out your detents a lot slower. And the detents in here are kind of crappy. They're like little tiny rubber nubs, and they don't really hold the balls very good. If you're like tilting down or something, the balls can kind of just roll out of the front of the barrel, which is, well, that's the job of the detents, to make sure that doesn't happen. So 8 to 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, when I was a little bit newer to paintball and stuff, would be like, yes, get a Blitz, great gun. Now I'm a little wiser to the world, and I will say with the used market and everything, you can probably get a Proto Rise or Rise Maxed for around the same price, and it's like night and day shooting those guns. In fact, I'll do a side-by-side shooting test, and you'll see the muzzle rise and also hear the sound signature and the clanging of the bolt of the Blitz here, and then with the just whisper quiet, you know, recoilless operation of the Maxed over here. Now, for that price range, you could get a lot better marker. You could get a used something, or you could get a brand new Proto Rail. Probably not the Max, but you could get a new Proto Rail, and you'd be missing out on, you know, the ultralight barrel and the clamping feed neck and the on-off ASA and all that other shit, but whatever. So I would say personally, a Blitz back in the day had a sweet spot for a lot of paintballers because it was that cheap, reliable electric marker out there, you know? Tippmans were a little more expensive because they were a little more solidly built and a little more reliable. That's why parks use them as rentals. But the Blitz, baby, it's been there for us for a long time, and you don't really need to, you know what maintenance you need to do on it, honestly? Unless your regulator goes down like this one has, and it's, you know, had problems, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if you're just maintaining, not fixing, not correcting, put a couple drips of oil in here, screw on your tank, take the barrel off, and shoot about 10 to 20 times, and that's going to circulate all that oil through the through all the O-rings and everything. And there's not a lot of O-rings to this bitch, honestly. I don't know the exact number. I can get that for you guys, but I don't know. It's not a lot because it's not spool drive. It's not a technological piece. It's just an old-fashioned stack tube blowback design. Take her out back, gas her up, take some shots of the chrono, and then go through each one of the firing modes, and maybe do a little accuracy test with the stock barrel. We'll do maybe a barrel swap so I can show you the difference that an aftermarket barrel would make on this marker. So let's get out there, guys, and do a little shooting. We'll bring her back in. I'm not really going to do disassembly and maintenance on this gun because, like I had just told you, it don't really need it. You know, Tippmans and Azodins, they run forever. They just take a beating and keep on secreting. They take a hurting and keep on squirting. We're going to skip disassembly and maintenance, which is great because that's boring as fuck. We'll go out there, we'll shoot some stuff, guys. Here's uncapped semi. I don't have a lot of paint in there, but we'll see what we can do. I got some GI Sports Custom here, and I just put it into an XL ramping mode, so we'll see what we can do. Hey ladies, it's KC, how you doing? Well, we're back in the crib, and so the old Blitz went off without a fucking hitch. They had no issues, which is crazy. As you saw, I was trying to tweak the velocity a little bit, so I was strictly going off the velocity adjust. I did not want to do anything, let alone sneeze or breathe improperly on the regulator, as it would probably go down. I have had to do mass work on this fucking regulator, and it's a real bitch to work on it. You need a little clamping tool, snap ring pliers. That's what you need for these stupid little snap rings in here. And it's just not a very accessible regulator, and it's a piece of crap. The sound signature, as you could hear, was louder than George Washington's musket. It was basically like fucking Captain Jack Sparrow's blunderbuss. It was super fucking loud. That's why I didn't do more shooting for this review, is I got neighbors, okay? Like, I'm in a house, but I got neighbors, and this bitch is fucking loud. Like, I feel like one of my neighbors, they're elderly. They're gonna have a damn heart attack because they're gonna think that Ruffigan or Hoodlum is out front with a goddamn AK-47 lighting up the block. And anyway, so the Delrin bolt worked just fine. You could literally hear it clanging on every shot. It's not a very smooth operation. Recoil is heavy, it's loud, it's not smooth, but hey, it's reliable. It's got 4 firing modes built in. It's got a decent trigger you can get on. As you saw, I was ripping on it. And I just don't like the way it feels. It's very floaty. No brakes whatsoever. No paint was broken in the making of this video, so that counts for something. Yeah, guys, so here's my final thoughts on it, alright? Fuck the packaging, fuck the bullshit. Let me just cut the shit, guys. Get your knife, let's cut the shit. So, this Blitz here, this orange piece of shit right here, when Blitzes came out, they were super cheap, super reliable, and unlike Tippmann's, they were speedball style. They had several firing modes, and they were just a blast to play with. You knew they were going to be there for you. And like my first girlfriend, it's kind of loud, it's kind of obnoxious, it's not the best to look at, and it doesn't feel very good, but it's always there for you when you need it, and it'll get you through some rough times. So that is literally how I can describe an Azodin Blitz. It's kind of a piece of shit, it's kind of ugly, but it'll be there for you to satisfy you when you really need it. So there's that. Barrel's a sack of dicks. This is like literally the main purpose for this barrel is for Mr. H from HK Army to do blow out of. That's about it, boys. H, what's up? This bolt is basic. Like if this bolt was a person, it would drink Starbucks. Probably pumpkin spice lattes. It's that basic. I don't know. I ain't gonna waste your time. I ain't gonna waste my time. This is already a long ass video. Also, unlike my first girlfriend, the gun's clean on the inside. There's no residue, there's nothing. This is a solid piece here, boys, so I'm gonna go pack her up for the winter. I'm actually gonna sell this puppy probably for like 70 or 80 bucks. If anybody's interested, just DM me, hit me in the DM, as the kids say nowadays, or just you know, comment like, hey, I want your Blitz, and I'll fucking send it to you. Alright, ladies, I'll see y'all later. KC out.